story happened during my first year in college. I was attending Temple University in Philadelphia and was really excited about bettering my future and education. During the first week, I was sitting in my video production class. The first week of college is usually known as syllabus week, where the professors go over what the semester will look like. It's the easiest week by far. I had a class of about 100 students, and it was big. Our professor was going over what was to be expected of us when I felt my phone vibrate. It was an Instagram notification. I opened it up and saw that I received a DM from an unknown account. The message said, "Hey, you're really beautiful." I read it and then ignored it, and then went back to listening to my professor. A few minutes go by, and then I got another DM. It was from that same account, but this time it said, "Don't ignore me, I'm in your class right now." This made me uneasy. I started looking all around the class, trying to see if I noticed anyone acting strange or looking at me, but I didn't. I decided it was best to just ignore the DMs and turn off my phone. That same night, I was back in my dorm. I had a dorm with one other girl who was pretty cool. We were both going over how our classes were that day when there was a knock on our door. It was late at this point, like past 10 p.m. We both got up and went to see who it was. When we opened it, no one was there. We looked up and down the halls and didn't see anyone. We even texted a few of our dorm neighbors and asked if they had just knocked, but they all said no. The next day, I went to my classes, hit the gym, and had a pretty normal day. As I was returning back to my dorm, I got another DM. It was from that same unknown account, except this time, they sent a picture. I clicked on it, and it was a picture of someone holding my underwear from my drawer. But the picture was from inside of my dorm, in my bedroom. Then I received a message right after that saying, "Your essence keeps me alive." I showed this to my roommate, and we both decided that we needed to contact the campus police. And we did. Through security footage, they were able to track down who it was. It was this kid, Martinez Henning, and get this, he was in my video production class, and he sat 4 seats down from me. Campus police determined that what he did was deemed harassment and breaking and entering. He was expelled permanently from the campus. I never thought in a million years that I would have such a crazy stalker creep to deal with. But I guess college is the place where you do experience new things. However, that's one experience I never want to deal with again. Two years ago, I broke up with a very toxic ex-boyfriend of mine. He would gaslight me constantly, put me down if I didn't go to the gym 5 times a week, and he even hit me twice. When I finally ended things with him, I felt like a new woman, freed from shackles and bondage. Just as I was enjoying my newfound freedom, I got an Instagram friend request. It was from a profile called "I Hate Deborah," and yes, Deborah is my first name. I looked at the page in horror. It was very personal photos of me that I had sent to my toxic ex-boyfriend. No nudity, but the pictures were of me in lingerie that were meant for only him. Horrified, I clicked on the photos and read the captions. They all bashed me and said what a whore and a slut that I was. I had no doubt in my mind that this was my ex-boyfriend behind the page, because he was the only one who would have access to those private photos. I reported the account to Instagram. Then I called my ex to freak out on him and demand that he take the page down. But of course, he ignored my calls and didn't answer me. A few days go by, and the account for some reason wasn't taken down by Instagram. I was up in my room late one night and saw that the account had posted a story. It was a picture of my house from the outside, and there was a poll question asked. It said, "Should I hurt Deborah?" I voted no, and saw in horror that 98% had said yes. At this point, it had gone way too far, and I was seriously fearing for my life. I decided to call my ex one last time to see if he would take the page down before I got police involved. I started dialing him. I was in my kitchen when I did this. I held the phone to my ear and listened to it ring. But then, I heard a cell phone going off somewhere close by, like inside of my house. I realized that it was coming from my basement. I opened it up and looked down. I saw my ex standing at the bottom of the stairs, looking up at me. I screamed. I quickly grabbed a knife off the counter and threw it down at him. He turned around and climbed out the basement window and into the night. I went around the house and made sure everything was locked. When I figured I was safe, I dialed 911. Long story short, my ex was arrested for breaking and entering into my home. I also had a restraining order placed on him, which, in all honesty, doesn't do much, especially if they really want to hurt you, but it was better than nothing. The Instagram page was eventually taken down. I was told by a police officer recently that my ex had served his time, and he is now back out on the streets. So far, nothing has happened, and I also have relocated houses. I just pray to God that I don't see him again. This happened back a few years ago when I was in 8th grade. I was sitting in the lunchroom with all of my friends. We were talking about our plans for what we were going to do that weekend. My one friend was talking about some hike that she was going to go on when I saw a bunch of Instagram notifications pop up on my phone. It seriously was like 50 plus notifications. I looked at them and saw that some account named ChillGuy111 had just liked every single one of my photos. I showed this to my friends and started looking at who the profile was. When I clicked it, it had no photos, no followers, and the picture was just the default gray background. My friends joked around that I have a stalker. Later that night, I was in my room doing some homework. My phone was next to me when I heard it go off. I had got a DM from that ChillGuy111. It said, "You look so good in those jeans today, I could barely control myself." I thought about responding, but decided not to. Whoever this was clearly some kind of creep weirdo, and I didn't want to waste any energy on them, so I just ignored it. The next day, I was in the library with a couple of my friends. We were working on schoolwork when I felt my phone vibrate. I pulled it out and saw that ChillGuy111 had DM'd me again. I can't tell you exactly what he said, but it was very graphic and sexual, and it even involved animals and what he wanted to do to me. Now I was getting really creeped out. I showed all my friends and we agreed that blocking the account was the best move, so I did. A few more days go by and everything is normal. I had just gotten home from hanging out with my friends when I got another Instagram DM. I opened it and saw this account was named ChillDude13. I was about to block it again, knowing this was probably the same person who was messaging me before, but decided to read what they said. The DM said, "I'll tell you who I am, but you have to keep it a secret." I'll be honest, I didn't want to respond to this creep, but I was extremely curious who it could be. I responded, "Sure, who are you?" 10 minutes later, I got my response. To this day, I am still revolted and shocked at who it was. It ended up being my math teacher, Mr. Frankel. In the DMs, he went on to openly admit that he had fallen in love with me and would even be willing to leave his wife for me. Mind you, I was in 8th grade at this point, and Mr. Frankel was well into his late 40s. After he told me who it was, I went straight to my parents and showed them every single DM I received. This whole situation ended up making the local news, and Mr. Frankel was fired from his position for predatory behavior. This all happened a few years back, and I still need to go to therapy for my mental condition. I've since heard that his wife has left him and his family disowned him. Serves him right. I cannot believe there are people out there like him who exist.